will become even more painful after you leave him. Navigating life after leaving a relationship with a narcissist can indeed be incredibly challenging. The aftermath often involves grappling with a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, including hurt, confusion, and even self-doubt. It's natural to question the sincerity of the love you felt and the promises that were made, especially when faced with the abrupt departure of someone you deeply cared about. One of the most perplexing aspects of dealing with a narcissist is trying to understand their motivations and whether they are capable of feeling remorse for their actions. While it's tempting to hope that they might eventually come to recognize the pain they've caused and express genuine regret, the reality is often more complicated. Narcissistic individuals typically possess a profound sense of entitlement and a lack of empathy for others, which can make it difficult for them to acknowledge or take responsibility for their hurtful behavior. They may be skilled at manipulating situations to their advantage and shifting blame onto others, further complicating the process of healing and moving on. In many cases, the narcissist's focus remains primarily on their own needs and desires, leaving little room for genuine remorse or introspection. However, it's essential to remember that every individual is complex, and there may be rare instances where a narcissist experiences fleeting moments of regret or self-awareness. Ultimately, the most important aspect of healing from a relationship with a narcissist is prioritizing your own well-being and focusing on self-care. This may involve seeking support from friends, family, or a therapist, setting boundaries to protect yourself from further harm, and engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. While it's natural to seek closure and validation from the narcissist, it's essential to recognize that true healing comes from within and cannot be dependent on external validation. By cultivating self-love and resilience, you can emerge from the shadows of the past and embrace a brighter, more fulfilling future. Our brains like to take the easy way out after a hard day, don't they? As comforting as it is to say, "I love you," it's much harder to face the fact that their deeds don't quite match up. If the two don't match, you might feel lost and stuck in a cycle of emotions that you can't get off of. It's possible to wonder, do they even miss me? Since you cared about them so much, it makes sense to expect the same from them. Narcissists, on the other hand, care in a strange way, if you can even call it that. There are three main things on their minds when you decide to leave. To begin, they are obsessed with keeping their picture safe. They're more worried about how other people will see them after you leave. I thought, what will people think of me when my partner left me for a while? To keep up the image of being a loyal partner, which I clung to, I worked hard to make up a story that made me look like the victim. Fearing for my reputation, I thought, how will this affect my reputation? They might make things more dramatic before you leave to make you want to leave so they can avoid blame and save face. It's all about keeping up the image of a saint, even if their deeds don't match up. They'll worry about saving themselves after you're gone, not your feelings. Because of this, they may try to get you to fall for them again by any means possible, even if it means ignoring how much they hurt you. The hoovering strategy is one that narcissists like to use. Let's look at how it works. It's used for a few sneaky things. To begin, when they try to get you back, they only care about making themselves look like the good guy. "See, I tried," they'll say. "We fixed things. Don't you think that makes me look good?" This helps them believe their twisted story of events and keeps up the appearance of being a good partner. In order to keep up looks, they also use character assassination, which is a common form of smear campaigns. They'll tell lies to put themselves above you because they want to look better than you. To make themselves look better, they'll make you look like the bad guy by blaming you for everything. In the worst situations, they might even blame someone else to protect their own honor. It doesn't matter what they say. They'll say anything to make themselves look good by dragging your name through the mud. Once a relationship is over, the last thing a narcissist cares about is their image. What they do to get ahead, even if it hurts other people, is driven by their obsession with how other people see them. There's nothing else going on. Knowing this helps you understand how they act after a split. As I already said, a narcissist's main concern when you're not around is how they look to other people. What's next on their list, though? Cash. Third, it's all about having power. A narcissist loves being in charge. Getting lost is their worst fear. They take a big hit when you decide to leave because they're used to being in charge. They are very afraid of losing power over you because being in charge is a big part of who they are. How do I regain control? Is something they ask themselves all the time. They keep going over it in their heads because they can't stand the thought of not being in charge. They try to pull you back in after a breakup because they are afraid. They are trying very hard to get back the power they lost. They try to get you back into the relationship after it's over just to keep their hold on you. This is called hoovering. They'll do anything to keep control, even if it means lying to make it look like you stop things instead of them. It's all part of their plan to keep power even after the relationship is over. Let's deal with narcissists in a real way. Their world is run by three things: their money, their image, and their need to be in charge. People who are narcissistic will do anything to protect these three people. If you want to get away from a narcissist, it's important to understand these basic things. It can change the game to know how scared they are of losing power, how much they care about how they look, and how desperately they want to keep their money. Of course, these things also play a big role in legal matters like divorce or child custody fights, which is why they act the way they do after you leave. One big truth about narcissists is that they only care about themselves. This is especially true when a relationship is ending. They aren't very good parents because they avoid doing what they need to do or give it to someone else. They might not even take care of their pets. It's clear where their interests lie if they don't care about how you feel or the state of the relationship. When you start to doubt yourself or wonder if you're crazy, remembering this can save you. But didn't they say they cared? You might ask. They said things would be different, right? They didn't do anything with those words. How they treat you and the other people around them every day shows what kind of person they are. Finally, all they care about is keeping their image clean, their money safe, and staying in charge, especially when you're out of their reach. The most important thing to remember is that you're not crazy. Things like the ups and downs of your feelings, the uncertainty, and the chaos are all normal and expected. Lots of other people have been through the same things and come out better. Don't be afraid to ask for help or get in touch with people who understand what you're going through. It can be hard to break up with a narcissist, but knowing what drives them, image, money, and control, can help you understand their actions and move on. You won't get through this alone. Give yourself time and help. To sum up, getting inside the head of a narcissist after a breakup can be like untangling a bunch of wires. It's hard and confusing, but you can face it head-on if you have the right knowledge and people to help you. Click the like button and share your thoughts or stories below if you thought today's chat was helpful. It can really help if you share this chat with people who might need it. Also, if you want more deep conversations like this, make sure you're subscribed and that alerts are turned on. We're excited to keep bringing you good stuff because of your help. Thank you very much. Please click on the link in the description to get a free book and the chance to talk to someone one-on-one. Thanks a lot for being on our team and always looking out for us. Don't forget that you're never on this road by yourself. Hey there, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We're delving into a thought-provoking topic: why narcissists seek to dismantle relationships. It's quite perplexing, isn't it? If you're enjoying our discussion, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and perhaps share it with your friends. When you're entangled with a narcissist, they have a laundry list of desires. They covet your empathy, love, time, and energy, essentially anything you possess. They set their sights on your finances, social standing, and even your social circle. They crave it all. It's as if they possess an insatiable void that constantly needs filling. Remember, narcissists thrive on taking, and when you're depleted, they demand even more. But here's the twist. What they truly yearn for is witnessing the dissolution of the relationship. They dig their claws in deep, especially once you've made significant commitments. Whether you've professed your love, tied the knot, started a family, established a home, or embarked on a business venture together, that's when the narcissist begins orchestrating its demise. Fascinating, right? Let's delve into why. Sometimes, this unraveling occurs shortly after marriage or a relocation, whether it's to a distant locale or just a new neighborhood. It could also transpire following a business partnership, particularly if your associate turns out to be a narcissist. Alternatively, it may unfold after you've entrusted them with financial resources or included their name on property deeds. Narcissists are adept at donning masks and manipulating others. They ensnare individuals in a web of false affection, despite lacking the capacity for genuine love or empathy. Instead, they feign humanity, empathy, and love, all of which are merely facades. They possess the uncanny ability to regurgitate past conversations, often observed fixating on their target with dark, consuming eyes. However, their ultimate aim is to dismantle the relationship, persistently striving to achieve this once they believe they have their victim ensnared. Following the initial love bombing, the cycle of narcissistic abuse progresses to the devaluation stage. Victims find themselves ensnared, grappling with confusion, and yearning to reclaim the initial euphoria. Regrettably, this elusive state remains beyond reach, replaced by intermittent glimpses of false hope, love, and empathy. Such dynamics are inherently unsustainable, as every narcissistic relationship harbors an expiration date, with the facade inevitably crumbling over time. Typically, the cycle concludes with the discard phase, or of the termination of the relationship, sometimes followed by a phase known as the Hoover. It's crucial to remain vigilant, particularly during vulnerable periods like the holiday season, as a Hoover, a rekindling attempt by the narcissist, may occur if contact remains unsevered. To break free from the cycle of narcissistic abuse, it's essential to cut off contact, block the narcissist, remove them from your life, and commence the healing process. The 4 phases of narcissistic abuse persist in a repetitive loop, driven by the narcissist's insatiable need to dismantle relationships. Through various examples, we'll explore how and why they enact this destructive agenda. In the realm of relationships, a pivotal moment arises when they perceive they've secured your commitment, initiating a phase of subtle testing through withdrawal. Recall those initial stages, characterized by vibrant text exchanges adorned with heart emojis, puppies, rainbows, and smiles. It resembled a playful dance. Yet, as time unfolded, the narcissist gradually diminished these expressions until they vanished altogether, leaving you puzzled by the sudden shift. In truth, the foundation of the relationship was unstable from its inception, precariously built upon shaky ground. Despite recognizing this instability, the narcissist ensnared you within its confines, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and perhaps even financially. Even amidst recurrent attempts to sever ties, you emerged as the adhesive binding the fractured pieces together. Your generosity knew no bounds, driven by a tendency to please others or an aversion to uttering the most challenging word in the English lexicon. No. Declaring no translates to affirming oneself. Vigilantly monitoring the relationship, the narcissist scrutinized your texts, gauged your emotional responses, and even scrutinized your demeanor for signs of excessive joviality. They questioned innocuous gestures like waving to strangers, endeavoring to dim your radiant essence. Despite their endeavors to drain your vitality and envelop you in a fog of devaluation, their success remained fleeting, until it faltered. Navigating relationships can prove arduous, particularly when entangled with individuals who harbor selfish inclinations, prioritizing their own interests above all else. Enduring the aftermath of a challenging breakup, whether as the initiator or the forsaken party, poses formidable trials. Engaging with someone who exudes self-centeredness entails considerable hardship. If you've endured the tumult of a breakup, rest assured, your experience is understood. Whether tasked with delivering the agonizing blow of termination or bearing the brunt of abandonment, intertwining with an individual consumed by self-interest yields adverse outcomes. If you've never experienced such a relationship, count yourself fortunate. It's encouraging to see you seeking wisdom and sharing experiences within this community. These authentic narratives serve as valuable lessons, empowering individuals to grow stronger and evade entanglements with self-absorbed partners. Many of us here have traversed such tumultuous waters, and it's through our shared stories that we aim to shed light on the perils of relationships with individuals who prioritize their own interests above all else. Let's delve into life post-breakup. It's undeniably challenging. You find yourself delving deep within, endeavoring to rediscover your identity after tethering it to someone who failed to reciprocate care. It's akin to uncovering a solitary blade of grass in a vast expanse. Yet, amidst the struggle, moments of enlightenment emerge. You begin to comprehend the insidious cycle of abuse perpetrated by these individuals. How did this realization dawn upon you? Perhaps you sought solace in online resources addressing relationship woes, or a compassionate soul shared illuminating videos. Suddenly, you're thrust into the realm of toxic personalities and narcissistic behavior. Why? Because your erstwhile partner thrived on sowing chaos to assert control, leaving you ensnared in a mire of confusion and uncertainty. How did you navigate this labyrinth of emotions? Tears may have flowed freely, your physical form may have fluctuated, and the quest for understanding may have seemed insurmountable. Processing the remnants of a relationship, spanning perhaps many years, unveils a reality starkly different from your perceptions. Eventually, acceptance dawns. The realization that your former companion never harbored genuine love, displaying a callous disregard even for their own kin. They epitomize hollow vessels, seeking to siphon energy and resources from unsuspecting souls. At some juncture, you were but one among many, subject to their relentless exploitation. Following a challenging breakup, you found yourself yearning for closure and answers for the shattered remains of your relationship. Despite your earnest efforts to foster a deep connection and collaborative bond, the realization dawned that your well-being was never truly a priority for the other person. Reflecting on the past, you now recognize the warning signs that had been subtly present all along. The abrupt cessation of lively emoji-laden text exchanges served as an ominous indication of trouble brewing. Similarly, the gradual erasure of your presence from social media narratives, particularly following the wedding vows, unveiled a pattern of deceit. Behind the facade of commitment, they clandestinely sought validation and flirtations from a global audience, preserving the illusion of singularity. Such behaviors merely scratch the surface of narcissistic tendencies. Ever pondered the rationale behind individuals possessing multiple smartphones? While not every individual with several devices fits the narcissistic mold, it's a tactic often employed to facilitate clandestine communication and garner attention from external sources while ostensibly committed to a relationship. Consider it a fragment of a larger scheme, enabling them to satisfy their desires surreptitiously. Now, the concept of owning 3 smartphones might strike as peculiar. However, let's dissect its purpose. One device caters to professional endeavors, another for everyday affairs, and perhaps an additional one for discreet interactions. While seemingly extravagant, this trifecta of gadgets serves as tools for narcissists to dispense manipulation, abuse, and punishment, all while maintaining a veneer of normalcy. Consider this scenario. Whether you were married or not, in their company, how often did they stride ahead of you during outings? Whether it was a casual barbecue, a leisurely stroll through town, or a visit to neighbours, they consistently opted to walk separately, eschewing conversation, hand-holding, or displays of affection. Their deliberate choice to walk ahead served as a tactic to sow distance and gauge your tolerance for their disrespectful conduct. If you dared to assert a boundary or address their behaviour, they would dismissively label you as insecure or assert that you were fortunate to have their companionship, subtly undermining your confidence. Now, envision this. As you accompany them to a social gathering or neighbour's house, they intersperse the journey with such cutting remarks. Instead of feeling cherished and valued, you're left bewildered and disheartened. Despite attempting to mask your discomfort with a forced smile, the narcissist gleams with satisfaction, having secured their desired emotional reaction by diminishing your worth. This repetitive pattern persists because the narcissist's ultimate goal is to dismantle the relationship. With each instance, they subject you to these manipulative tactics, intensifying the cycle and making it increasingly arduous to extricate yourself. Their testing extends to the start of each day. Imagine this. You wake up needing a ride to work, and the driver happens to be a narcissist. What unfolds during the car ride? Perhaps you're met with stony silence or subjected to a litany of accusations for imagined wrongdoings. They might also inundate you with a laundry list of tasks to tackle post-work, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and diminished. Upon arrival at your destination, you're left bewildered by the abrupt shift in demeanour, transforming from aloofness to apparent contentment, all while concealing their true intentions behind a facade. In hindsight, their behaviour becomes clearer, but in the moment, the emotional entanglement makes it challenging to perceive. At that stage, you're likely deeply attached to the narcissist, even though they are incapable of returning your affection. Secondly, while you're investing effort into nurturing the relationship, they are actively working to sabotage it. Thirdly, you find yourself mired in confusion as you continue to give excessively. You toil tirelessly to mend the fractures in the relationship, only to realize later, upon reflection and healing, that it was doomed from the start. Every narcissistic relationship has an inevitable expiration date, and yours was no exception. That's the cycle in a nutshell. While you pour your energy into salvaging what's left, the constant remains the narcissist, not you. Reflect on how frequently the narcissist would isolate or alienate their own family members, whether it be their mother, siblings, children, colleagues, acquaintances, or members of the community. It's the narcissist who harbours the issues, and their aim is to undermine any meaningful relationship you hold dear. This is their modus operandi. If you're unfamiliar with terms like stonewalling, silent treatment, rage outbursts, verbal abuse, triangulation, or gaslighting, you're facing an uphill battle. You're up against an insidious force intent on crushing your spirit. And when I say crushing, I mean it wholeheartedly. They have no interest in seeing you thrive, discover your true self, or embark on a journey of healing. Narcissists are bent on stripping you of everything, from your confidence to your resources, leaving you utterly depleted. Divorcing a narcissist can be a protracted ordeal as they relentlessly pursue their own interests, fixating on financial gain rather than genuine concern. Eventually, they discard you and move on, leaving you emotionally and mentally drained. However, with time, people begin to see through their facade, discerning true honesty and kindness. Remember, genuine character always shines through eventually. Embrace those who embody authenticity, illuminating your path forward. Now, let's flip the script. When you're entangled with someone toxic, constantly immersed in negativity, whose sole aim is to drain and dismantle relationships, their true nature inevitably emerges over time. Each broken relationship, each instance of causing chaos, adds to their legacy of destruction, ultimately haunting them in the future. This is why they often harbor deep-seated anxiety, evade introspection, shirk accountability, and exhibit a blatant disregard for anyone but themselves. Their behavior mirrors that of petulant children, resorting to bullying tactics, all while harboring an emptiness within. They are fully cognizant of their actions and the repercussions they entail. Before we wrap up, let's address a common inquiry. Do these toxic individuals comprehend the impact of their actions? Yes, they do. They inhabit the same reality as you, experience the same events, and possess a clear understanding of the fallout resulting from their behavior. Deliberately fracturing relationships is part and parcel of their modus operandi. For them, the allure lies in ensnaring you or ensnaring you in a toxic dynamic. It's a means of garnering attention. The subsequent stage involves extracting everything they can from you, a process that gratifies them immensely. Finally, once the relationship inevitably crumbles, they seek solace in playing the victim or shifting blame onto you, all the while seeking out a fresh source of attention. And thus, the vicious cycle perpetuates itself. Why do they dismantle relationships? Because they grow weary and bored of the current one, just as they did with the preceding one before encountering you. Their insatiable need for novelty drives them to constantly seek out new connections, friendships, interests, possessions, and wealth, anything that provides a fleeting sense of fulfillment. They thrive on extracting energy from others, perpetually ensnared in this unending cycle of craving and consumption. They're fully cognizant of this pattern, as are you and I. So, recognize this. They deliberately fracture relationships. It's their modus operandi. That's why it's imperative to sever ties, block them, and distance yourself from anyone associated with them. If not now, then when? If cutting contact proves challenging, simply strive to become uninteresting to them. That's all for today. I trust you found this insightful. Take care, and may you have a wonderful day, evening, or morning, wherever you may be. Remember, you're not alone. Prioritize self-care. I genuinely care about you. It was a pleasure creating this content, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Farewell.